Today we're going to plant some zucchini, all summer squash, yellow zucchini or yellow squash, patty pan squash, green zucchini or yellow crookneck squash are all summertime squashes that you can be growing here in Vermont. They all like to grow in warm soil and warm weather. They can be direct sown into the soil as we're doing today, and it's just best to make sure that the soil is at least 65 to 70 degrees, so that's around end of May, beginning of June before you plant them. They're also a good plant to grow in succession, meaning you plant a few plants 2 to 4 weeks apart throughout the growing season because they're fast growers, but they tend to slow production as the season weighs on. This way you have the squash coming along regularly all the time. Now here we are harvesting some cute little yellow squash. It's nice to harvest them small like this when they're more delicate and the seeds inside of them are very, very small, as opposed to when they get big and the seeds are bigger and you might want to actually scoop them out. So here we are in the mint patch. Mint is a wonderful aromatic plant that comes in many varieties, and in this patch we have some spearmint with the wider leaves and peppermint with the narrower leaves. It has antioxidants and it has anti-inflammatory properties, and it's often used to treat indigestion. All the different summer squashes, they don't vary much in nutritional value. They're mostly water. As with all vegetables, they're low in calories and sodium. They don't have any fat, and they contain some vitamin A, C, potassium, folate, and fiber. Keep the skin on because that's where most of the nutrition is stored. So in this recipe, we're going to be building and layering flavors. The squash is going to be roasted in the oven, but it's for a short time, only about 10 to 15 minutes. So you can even get away with doing that on a warm day. For the recipe, you will need summer squash, and here we're using small summer squash with mint, lemon, feta cheese, olive oil, and a little salt and pepper. The recipe says to cut them into half moons, but we have little squash, so we're going to cut them into full moons or round circles. No need to be exact or strive for perfection. We're just going to cut up these squashies, and once we get them all cut up, then we will roast them. Now we'll toss the summer squash in a 1/4 cup of olive oil. It can be any olive oil, but for roasting and flavor, extra virgin cold pressed olive oil is nice to use. You can measure it out, or you can just eyeball it. And then you can add salt and pepper to taste, or you don't have to add any. By the way, adding a little salt to a homemade recipe of fresh food is not how we get all the extra salt in our diets. Most of the extra salt that we get comes from processed food. So adding a little salt to fresh food made from scratch is usually not a problem. And we're going to coat the pan with a non-stick spray, but you can also use just a little dollop of oil, and then we're going to dump our lovely squash on there, trying to get it into one layer so it cooks more evenly. And as you can see, these pieces are not all the same size, and it will come out perfectly fine. So now that we've got our nice one layer there, we're going to put it in the oven. So in the oven it goes at 475 for 10 to 15 minutes. We'll come back and see how things are going. While we're waiting for our squash to cook, we'll strip some mint leaves off of the stem by just pulling the leaves off by any means necessary. The big leaves you can just kind of yank off, and or you can try sliding your hand down the stem to strip the leaves. We want about a 1/2 cup of mint, but that is to taste, of course. Recipes are just suggestions. Now we're going to do a mint chop. Choke up on the blade and hold the other end of the knife down with your non-chopping hand, and then you can just take that knife on a 1/4 circle turn over and over, pushing the mint together and even rotating the cutting board around to get all the leaves minced up. It's a lot of fun, and this mint smells fantastic. Now we'll do the juice of 1 lemon. We're going to cut our lemon in half and squeeze it in our old-timey lemon squeezer. I do recommend juice from a fresh lemon. It tastes a lot better than store-bought, and it's also got a lot of vitamin C. So the next step is to crumble the feta. We need about a cup of it. One good thing about making recipes is you get to play with your food. And as with the mint, it depends on how much you like feta. And you can even make this dish without feta. And here is our lovely roasted squash that has come out of the oven. And you can see that it's nicely brown. So we're going to slip it back into the bowl and toss it with our lemon juice, our mint, and our feta cheese. Since we have a smaller volume of zucchini than had we used medium zucchini, I think we should put in only half or so of our other ingredients and then taste it. So now we're gonna mix it up a little with a spatula and we're gonna taste it. I think that tastes perfect as it is. And what a pretty dish we have here. You can serve it either hot or cold or room temperature. I prefer it warm because I think it brings out more of the flavors, but your choice entirely.